further down. So if you look at the
wasted our money, just like the bus list.
Screenshot.
There's a budget shortfall.
But the ones that are checking the bus limit, they haven't taken the
They haven't,
signage on yet.
some of them they have, they kind of scraped it out, it's lighter, but some of them they're not going to happen. I know, it's not going to happen. I'm George Benjamin.
Yes. I really appreciate this picture with the random blue light into the picture. It's a nice touch.
They did that to almost all the pictures.
Well, the problem is that another picture.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't go into the ones like on the ground, you drew the project, so. And I would always intentionally put a blue light in the picture, so you could.
But why do we do with the bicycle people just moved on the sidewalk? I don't forget that spot there. What are we doing for that?
So we have a contract with an operator who runs the system for us. And so they, will retrieve bikes that are left found, people off the front of the one. And then it gets dispatched to them, and we monitor that.
I don't see them myself.
The one at separate living thing, we have, multiple notes out throughout the day.
Because all the sequence stuff, don't care.
That's sequence that.
Weird question. So let's say I did blue light and then I just leave it till the road. Does that thing
So this one's gonna go on the sidewalk.
Yeah, so you would get charged if you.
So is this one going on the sidewalk?
Yeah, so that is.
Let's make it
it's kind of all part of the
I should give know the answer to this, and I should because I'm out there all the time. Is that what that Castle Island?
They're at the ringer.
There's one,
Yeah, the rink, but
that's a
not-
skating rink, but not at.
Is that because?
Well, it's simple, should
Like,
No,
state?
that's DCR property.
Yeah.
But you can't go with a
Can't ride your bike around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I said this is open.
That's a no bike lane.
Or if they were to take it off.
Oh, this is,
I just said 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. I mean, probably not. Well, but yeah, it's like
Because most was like $6 different colors, you don't even know what the hell they did. It's most colors.
I wrote the word.
Well, I know that.
Get shot block. We are all. So I'm writing the shot. So I don't mind you tell me.
So, 5,035.
Well, I live in.
St. Peter's Church is up here.
Yeah,
Ellen said,
No, they put them, like, every corner has those white. Well, Ellen doesn't have it.
you know, they did that right, Congress is going to turn into the Schools Museum, like right there.
My name is John.
Well, you can't park there anyway.
So where these cones?
With those cones out, I don't know why they, I think there's one bikes there. It's like there's one at Ellen, there's one at Ellen 6, there's one at Ellen 7, there's one at Ellen 8, there's one at Ellen Marine.
That's not really bad.
Yeah. Some wants to be the little side.
That's what I said.
Some wants to be Someone ought to take street bike. What possesses them to take street parking? Flag mapping, surveys. I'm looking at East Boston. I know, well, I'm looking, they have it all laid out at different tables, John. I work and live in Chelsea and usually half the time on the lot.
So that's what you're about, blue bikes, eventually
Anyway.
somebody might call me up, but, you know, rather than going to the.
All right, have a good one.
And you, no, that's right. I would just say, I don't want to serve everything. Yeah, there's a lot more bikes on the road now than before.
They're all wonderful. It's also never had traffic. We're just saying, right?
All right. All right, bye.
Like right here. And if you come by the electric.
I think so. 2 years ago.
That little stupid light that they put in for the land.
But I don't anymore, so it's right there.
I was going to say also.
I feel like there's farmers where the much away from my career this year. So range on her top. There's kind of there's also serving flavor trend so yeah, I want to do so I
These pictures, and then you'd like to you and I. So,
This is the back end.
it's like that. Like my husband doesn't like it.
I don't know what else to say. Really Really from
So they South Boston bypass. I mean, I'll see it someday when I'm on Friday, but I've noticed them doing the
It's just like between the reservation and
First last mile connection. Yeah, that's funny. They need there's none there.
like when I put something cowards that that was
They should.
why passport. I guess not. I mean, this is pretty close to the airport. Airport East Off. I mean, it's not actually the airport. It's
Can you use capital letters?
I did have to. That's a hard one.
I would have liked it.
And then my comment, anyone who ever decided that.
Everyone that you wanted would be.
Well, I think I should only see people that were
could do it the whole day, but no, you just do the whole day.
You don't need city lights?
You live in the neighborhood. Yeah. Well, they asked me to get
So we're gonna share a short presentation in just a minute or two, and then we'll carry on.
We're trying to find funding, so the cost is really
That's fine.
well, I have a bunch of
No, it's probably an auto ride.
Is the back? We're going to give just a short presentation. It wasn't the best I've ever done, but yeah, so grab a seat, please. We apologize that the visual isn't as good as it could be. We can't really get the lights any lower than this. So it is what it is. All right, so thank you all for coming tonight. We really appreciate these opportunities to share with you our plans for our public bike share system, Blue Bikes. My name is Kim Foltz, and my colleague Lucy Gag is here with me tonight. We are both a part of the Boston Bikes team. We are a small team within the Streets Cabinet, and our focus is bike share, bike parking, and bike programming. So we are here to talk to you tonight about our Blue Bikes expansion. And our goals for the evening are to just give you a little bit of information about the need for expansion, why we're doing this in the first place. We've identified a bunch of potential sites. We will not be putting stations in all of these sites. These are just the proposals and from the feedback that we hear from you and others and our own needs for the system as a whole. We'll be honing down this list to identify the stations that we will, in fact, move forward with. And ultimately, we're asking for feedback from all of you so that we are the best equipped to be able to make some good decisions about our system. Just a little bit of background about Blue Bikes. This is a public bike share system. It is owned by the municipalities. Boston is one of 13 municipalities that are part of the Blue Bike system. We are the largest part of the system. There's about 4,500 bikes and more than 500 stations across the system. As I said, it's publicly owned, so the city of Boston, we own all of the stations and the bikes that came with those stations in Boston. We have a contract with a private company, happens to be Lyft, Bikes and Scooters Division. They are our operator of the system, and Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts is our title sponsor. Just a quick note, we have worked really hard over the last decade plus to really think about equity in our bike share system, make sure that it is available throughout our city and that we're reducing or eliminating barriers for people of all backgrounds to be able to use this system. Mayor Wu last year announced the Boston Bikes Pass, which is a discounted membership option for residents of Boston. If you have never been a bike share member before, or you haven't been for the last 3 years, you can join for $60 a year. For any low-income resident of Boston, you can join for just $5 a year. People who live outside the city have the option, not on the Boston Bikes Pass, but the discounted program that's available system-wide to join for $50 a year or $5 a month if they need to become veterans. So we have billions and billions of trips that are been taken on our public bike share system. Just in Boston, in our section of the system, there have been more than 2.3 million trips this year, and over 4 million trips to citywide. This is our biggest year yet. So we're seeing growth and sort of increasing usage of the system year over year over year. Almost 15% of those trips in Boston started in East Boston, Charlestown, South Boston, or the waterfront, which are the neighborhoods that we're here to share potential sites with you tonight. We worked really hard, as I said, to expand our system and really work towards the goal in our long-term transportation plan, which is called Go Boston 2030. That plan called for bike share to be within a 10-minute walk of every household in Boston. This is what the system looked like when Go Boston 2030 was released in 2017. This is what it looks like today, so we made a lot of progress. We're at about 90% of households within a 10-minute walk, so we're doing great. But we have a lot of work to do still. Those of you who ride blue bikes, probably, and especially if you ride blue bikes around here in South Boston, you probably have experienced a lot of pain points in the system. So Mayor Wu announced in 2022 that we were going to try to solve some of those pain points, and at the same time help make progress towards that.
When are you going to start enforcing the rules of the road?
Great, thank you. So we look at...
When are you going to start?
That's not our obligation, that is the police department. We have a couple different ways.
No, I'd rather talking here. Because this is a place of forum.
But you're disrupting
I'm
the
not
presentation.
enforcing. No, I just want to know when she's going to start enforcing the rules of the road.
You can ask the police.
Well, no, I think he's talking about when a bike's going down, and they have the red bike guide, and then they keep going, and you're not trying to take a right, and people are getting hit.
Yeah, so I understand your concerns. We are here as a...
They're not concerns, they're safety issues.
We understand.
And it's time to enforce safety issues on the roads to better ensure the safety of the neighborhoods.
Thank you. This is an open house. We're happy to talk to you.
Good, I'm glad. That's what it is.
But I would like to get through the presentation so that we are not wasting the time of everybody here. Happy to hear your concerns and respond directly, but I'd like to get through this presentation, and then we can talk directly, or I can take questions at the end of the presentation. So our goal, as I said, is to add 100 stations across the city in every neighborhood. We really think about two different kinds of stations or needs. One is infill stations. So that's how do we fill in the gaps? How do we identify the needs sort of in between existing stations? So that's the stations, the sites that we're thinking about here in South Boston. And then expansion stations are how do we sort of reach further into that 10% or so of residents who don't yet have any access to our public lecture system. So we've done a whole bunch of data analysis. We've worked with our analytics team and really dug into how do we think about where the need is the highest, how do we distribute these 100 stations across the entire city. So looking specifically at the need in South Boston, we had, as of very recently, over 800 active members who live in South Boston or in the waterfront who are members of Blue Bikes. And then in the areas where we see the most jobs or population density, our goal, what we know we really need to sort of meet the demand is to have bike share within a 3-minute walk of those destinations, jobs, and places where people live. So you can see the areas that are in light red. Those are about a 3 or 5 minute walk from an existing station, and the dark red areas are more than a 5 minute walk from the station. So this is one of the indicators for us that these might be areas that would be good for additional sites. So you can see with the sites that we have proposed here, you can see the change in those light and dark red areas. Again, we're not going to be putting in all of these stations, but this is what it would look like if we did. One of the other things that we looked at in analyzing this sort of pain points, where do we really need to add more docks. We use a metric called lost trips. So we have tons and tons of data available from our system. So anytime a station goes empty, like this one is, or it's full, we can see how long the station stayed in that situation. We also know how many trips are coming and going from any particular station on average at any time of day. So we can kind of put those two data layers together and say, all right, when this station is empty, we're losing this many trips. This is kind of a measure of the potential demand that would be there if we were able to meet it. So in some parts of South Boston, as well as the waterfront, there's really high numbers of lost trips. If you took an average Wednesday and Thursday in April 2024. This was just like one little slice of analysis that we did. All of the blue bikes at the South Boston Library were checked out by 9 a.m. So again, those of you who use blue bikes on a regular basis in this area probably know this way better than I do. This just gives you a sense of some of the trip volume that we see at the existing stations. These are just some representative stations. So, you know, in the range of 115 or so trips per day. This is on a recent month. I think this was September 2024. Here's a chart of all of the stations in South Boston. You probably can see this very well. We're happy to make this presentation available to you all afterwards. It'll be up on our website.
How about now? How about we step up and find out what's going on, and you present this properly to the people here that attended this meeting?
I'm trying to get through this quickly.
Well, nobody can see anything. You have something here for presentation.
I have the presentation right here, and I'm happy
Where
to
is the
go over
presentation?
it is right here. I'm happy to go over it with you afterwards. But
It's not after. Nobody has this time. You should have been much more prepared for this.
All right. So if you look at the South Boston waterfront, we're seeing more like 120 to 160 or 70 trips per day at typical stations there. And here's this chart.
It's not properly presented.
I can read that. You can't read
Where?
that?
Is this
No.
everyday for life?
What's that?
Are you like this every day to everyone?
No, not at all.
Like you're trying, it is hard to
We
wasting our
don't
time.
really need to know.
No, not at all.
I am very happy.
You're disrupting the neighborhood. Enough is enough.
Hey, you're doing great.
Yeah. He's being rude.
I'm happy to go through the whole thing.
That's as poor as I've ever seen.
You're wasting our time, sir. Sit down.
I'm not going to sit down. I have every right to stand up here and speak.
That's right.
What he said.
So don't disrupt my abilities.
We don't need to know all these statistics.
You forgotten how to sit?
I know how to sit. Trust me.
All right, so how we were doing this expansion, it takes a lot of work to plan 100 stations.
But I also know how to speak. And enough is enough.
So we are in the second phase of our expansion right now. We're looking at the neighborhoods of Charlestown, East Boston, South Boston, and the waterfront. And we're looking to add in South Boston and the waterfront.
We don't need any more.
A total of 7 to 14 new stations. So we have 4 open houses that we're holding in this phase of engagement. We held one in East Boston, we held one in Charlestown, we are here tonight in South Boston, and we have a virtual open house on November 14th. We also have surveys available on our website, boston.gov/bike-share-expansion, and there are signs posted at all of the potential sites letting people know how to find this survey online. So what we're doing next, we're going to consider the comments that we received from the open house, from the surveys. We're getting comments by email, and then we'll narrow down the list of sites, and we'll finalize locations and work on getting permits for them. We've gotten hundreds of responses from our survey, and nearly all of the respondents live in the South Boston South Boston 02127. We've heard from many, many people about existing stations often being empty or full. So, as one person said, this is a great spot. Nice to have it off the street, and the stations in either direction down Broadway are always full or empty. You can see some other comments that we've gotten. We're also getting, we often hear opposition from people about removing vehicle parking spaces. Understood, we really know that that's a challenge, so we try to minimize that as much as we can, and we take those.
If you're trying to minimize it, why are you trying to maximize it? Why are you trying to add more when there's a problem already with regular resident parking in the area? We're not taking care of the residents. What you're doing is trying to push an agenda. And it's no longer acceptable.
Where do you think we all live here?
I'm sorry, what is it?
We're all
do.
riding the bikes here. They're also residents.
Nobody's abiding by the rules of the road. And the city of Boston, who owns these bikes, are not stepping up and enforcing the rules of the road. They're not protecting the residents, and they're not protecting the city of Boston.
How about double
opens you up to
parking? That's a much bigger issue. Double parking is a much bigger issue in this neighborhood.
Double parking has been going on for years. And guess what? It doesn't matter, right or wrong. The rules of the road are not being enforced by the city of Boston, who owns these blue bikes. All right? Stand up and make sure that they enforce the rules before all of a sudden they add more to this city of Boston. We're not an expandable city. This morning I'm going down the street, and I'll tell you right now, there's a kid on a blue bike. He's got his cell phone out, he's got his earbuds in, which are illegal because he's got one in each ear. You're only supposed to allow one. And he's riding down the road.
We are unable to complete this presentation. We have someone, so sir, I'm very happy to continue talking with you.
Can I make a comment? What is it, Kim?
Yes, absolutely.
Kim, a lot of these comments you're going to hear for long-time residents.
Sure.
I'm looking at these, my long-time residents are making comments. The reality is, Paul's making a point, a little bit boisterous, but that's fine, he has an option to do that. The reality is, it's 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag. I'm looking at the one here at the Tynan. I've lived here for 27 years. You've got bike racks 50 yards away at the library. I know you say they're all gone, but I'll put another rack there. Don't put that in another piece of public property. That's ridiculous. You know what, the recommendation? Put your bike thing, put it in an attic somewhere or whatever. We have a 127-year-old mass transit system. It works pretty good. Why don't we work something out with the mass transit, the MBTA?
We don't need to expand it.
It's a lot of safety. We can't expand it because we don't have any real estate yet. The real estate that we do have, I worked here for a long time. The reality is you have to maintain 183 miles of traffic in a 4-hour period every night. There's no room to expand. The reality is, the team works safely and efficiently. Why don't we move in that direction instead of packing bikes in and taking away limited parking spaces in our neighborhood?
The T is a mile and a half away from some people.
Well, I'm sorry.
A mile and a half? No, it's not. Because guess what? You have a bus service that actually goes from Bayview right down to Broadway. You have from Broadway down to Broadway, and you have the old Dudley Street. So guess what? There's plenty of T service. Problem is the T is deficient. But adding in blue bikes that are actually...
The presentation part of tonight has ended. We're going to switch back to open house. Happy to take comments, questions one-on-one. You can share your comments by paper. You can share them by email.
I'm sorry, why are you doing this?
So this is an open house, so the schedule posted online was for us to
I'm
get
getting away? No, I'm not. I'm defending the neighborhood. I'm not shutting down the meeting. She can continue the meeting. I'm not shutting down any meeting. She can continue the meeting all she wants. I'm asking her a question because guess what? That's the poorest presentation I've ever seen. That's like an old black and white TV up there, and we're not getting any information.
Sir, I would be very
Why not right here in public?
Be respectful.
Can you see that? You can see that. Is that clear to you? Then you should have done the homework earlier.
Sir, we've done what we can do. We've asked if they would turn off the lights. So the idea of this meeting is to have most of the time available. Absolutely not.
We're done with them all.
I will go over the presentation with you in person right now on my laptop. See it on
This meeting's not about
well, if you would like to see the presentation, I'm happy to.
The presentation is fully done.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely not. I was like, yes, I'm going tonight.
But I'm happy to share the presentation in other ways. Either I can bring my laptop over, we can go over it if you want to see what else is left, or whatever. We make it available online. There's not a whole lot of factors. It's mostly just about the kind of things we look for in identifying sites.
The only thing I would say is the best way to get something to go to is to keep streets right. Okay, yeah, but I really want the option to put this on work. That statement to make like on the road.
Well, he doesn't understand the whole idea behind one of the ideas is to alleviate traffic. I'm like to from work every day.
I mean, I was kind of writing consideration. Because obviously,
we're in a neighborhood with Orange, and the Eastern there's no east to west, like to ride the mountains, just
does that look like because they're proposed?
Well, here we go.
So little by infrastructure relative to the number of people who are biking. Just, honestly, the most challenging well, right.
I mean, I just walk here. And I have a car too. And I have a car too. I can't drive. I love the guy who commented about the T, because we all also want the T to be better. Run the 9 and the 11 way more on the 7. I'm sure you don't.
Well, no, this neighborhood.
Also, if you look at it now, this neighborhood is way too dense. It's like desert.
Well, honestly, like feedback from South residents, you know, the system isn't working. It's always empty. You know, all of this are really helpful. Conversation with Councilor he's not our biggest champion, let's just say, but being able to say, look, we have hundreds of residents in South Boston, 2127, who have responded. does make a difference. And then also with our leadership. So then our leadership is able to say, look,
I heard about it. I was like, is it?
I was at that part there first.
I mean, I would have made some compromise and say, this look like maybe we should have probably I know fire truck and fire truck, which has been disproven. Yeah, no, it's been disproven. Yes, but like it's already street is one guy. We were in the impression. I mean, time is actually such a big problem. But like, it doesn't have to be on.
That's I couldn't even get it. And then the third day.
Probably because I don't know that. They just street has a lot of stuff.
Well, they just built that new nice bike path site. I don't understand why. Nobody lives there. No, I mean, I guess they're well because they're going to.
So you would go from A Street to the site for.
But that's not a developed area.
Sometimes those things are well, that's the developed area that's so that's how like little by little we get.
Well, essentially, what would happen there that's not yeah, well, that's another thing that we
so any development of a certain size has to go through the review process, which is like the largest development. It has money and space.
Street development probably
So it depends on if sometimes if you go just in totally, that's what I get for you. Everybody's right.
Well, I love how he talks about himself as a resident, as if not all residents. What makes him better than us? It's good. I pay taxes. We all pay taxes.
actually Hispanic.
I don't know.
Hispanic.
it reduces stress on the train. The parking too. People work right away. The traffic outlook is already terrible.
So I appreciate what you're doing. Please share your comments. You can put them in that round folder over there. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
I don't think it's
yeah, so each one is different. And then there's an overview map. So if you want to look at just how possible there's an overview map with all the sites. Okay. And so and they have the numbers.
an important.
Right. So, traffic lights are right
Well, I think because of the silence,
I'm sure they sign a waiver. We got Then no matter what, I'm thinking you don't want I'm just saying that you're taking your chance there of someone getting seriously hurt.
Yeah, which is why
We've seen it.
I'm not gonna go if it's too good.
Put it in the fire station parking lot.
Right down here. Right at Stop and Shop.
I don't know if we're going to be able to get the fire station on board to give us the parking.
Well, you know.
It's the same as getting like the residents on board, isn't it? No?
Yeah, we can definitely try. I mean, it's private property, so we can offer.
Well, city buses, I mean, don't we all own that sidewalk there, that street? Where you want to put them? Like, I don't understand.
Can you show me where?
The fire station is?
Right next to that fire station there.
Even if they go on K Street, there's a gate there. Right there. They can take down the gate and they can put 27 friggin' bikes in there. And they won't be taking up a spot.
Did you write this down already, or should I write it down?
I wrote it down about all of my concerns. And, I mean, so in the presentation, she said there was 800 bikes used from South Boston to Seaport.
No, 800 who are active.
Not that used them. How many actually used them from South Boston, do you know?
In terms of how many,
No, a day.
So, yeah, here, I can pull up the presentation.
Because I don't think we should be confined to the Seaport as far as your numbers for this area.
Yeah, let me show you the...
Even though it is South Boston, it's a whole different lifestyle.
Yeah. And then down there, there's a lot of people that use That's a big spot.
Yeah, I know.
So
But you have to have occupancy where it doesn't really make
This is parking at night. Something you have no place to that was not really clear maybe 10 or 15 years ago. I'm saying that there has to be a program. Okay, we've got to talk about and I don't know how but they have enjoyed, if nothing else, the fact that they were raised in families.
They have to
Same maybe not the same. And now all of a sudden, with the injuries coming in, which is more than
And the idea is that if you're this was a hard
Lane from me, read from my son. Yeah. I say that it's very additional compromise. Well, it really is just higher. Like my next door neighbor, Blair, you have to get a little controversy. Blair rented a apartment.
It's like the house is this big, and then the number of cars they have. When they have you on camera, a lot of these creatures, I did these Chapel Street, don't pay a lot of money. That's one of the reasons I did the rent cars out across. 25 years. I want to live in this that's it. I had my final
driving to a shop that's not it should be out. It's a hero. You want to drive around and it's way more pleasant. You know? And it's nice to be it's not fun to drive your car through a beautiful city like this.
Not a son or what I used to consider they work for us. When they come to work, get involved. He said, we work for the team. You should be able to take the team together and work. Kind of agree with
We already had flooding problems back, what, 10 years ago? Basements and all that.
Take a what? Oh, I know.
I think the law.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I said he is.
1.5.
December
When you throw in the gold, we're 50 years too late already.
The problem is, didn't know the area
2 days ago. He's not really.
I won't disagree with you.
But at least we have a mayor. We don't have council. We don't have a council.
Well, I'll tell you, and it is kind of embarrassing.
When she was saying this money, is there a company that wants this?
Introduce yourself. I went up and said, look,
So did the owner try to see the lease and stuff? Looks like a lease to buy or
everything's a pickup for this.
Now that you say that, it's a revenue advice of the city. All right, that makes more sense.
So please understand, we have to move as a city on this.
Yeah, but I know
What's the major source?
when you're in Cambridge, they're buying
Green. We're meeting. Without study. 24 to 25% of the contribution of cannabis. I believe it says I've heard Hey, then warming has to do with this. You just say, Mr. Man, or whoever he was. I don't know if that's the kids.
Nice to meet
What yet? So I tentatively agree to you. That's the only way we might disagree on residents. I don't know. It's got
Because the one right here is off camera. Like, I never really took off because I didn't usually spot it as it's working. For the most part, like, it's pretty good. Lots of other places. I mean, this is actually like, you're on the medium. And it's also the other part about this is that it's kind of like couch, you know, like you've got water here, so it's like kind of a thing. There's not water. There's not water. There's the line right I'm okay. It's great. Like I said, outside, I mean, if it was like the fields, no, the one in the just don't do
Thanks, Liam.